The real heiress spoke with an air of condescending authority, her command echoing without a hint of reservation. Sister, you must resign as CEO and voluntarily relinquish your inheritance rights to the Sioux Corporation. The Sioux family will still be generous enough to offer you a comfortable position. I didn't utter a word, silently lowering my head to sign. My penmanship was so calm that no one could guess the thoughts churning within me. Yet, deep in my mind, I let out a cold laugh. Inheritance? What was there to fight over? If it had come to this, wouldn't it be far more interesting to simply devour the entire corporation whole? Clara Sioux, the true heiress of the Sioux family, had just turned 22 this year, returning from Europe with a university degree, bathed in glory and cheers. Her birthday was celebrated lavishly on the beach, a spectacle of unbridled extravagance. The sandy shore was dotted with clusters of pristine white lilies of the valley, blooming in sweeping arrays. Fireworks exploded in the sky, spelling out sparkling words. The heiress returns, fortune knocks. Inside a blue brocade box lay a necklace I had designed myself. 22 lilies of the valley, platinum petals, diamond stamens, interspersed with ocean pearls, both exquisite and exorbitantly expensive. Evelyn, my powerful adoptive mother, tightly gripped my hand and Clara Sioux's, calmly announcing to all the guests, Clara Sioux, my biological daughter and Alexander's, has returned. From this day forward, the Sioux family has two precious treasures. Their living arrangements, clothing, and daily expenses will all be equal, no one above the other. Outsiders praised her fairness, but I only saw the ambiguity in every single word. The Sioux Corporation was an international jewelry conglomerate, yet she only mentioned trivial matters like clothing and daily expenses, things hardly worth noting for such a wealthy family. Ultimately, what people truly vied for wasn't dresses and luxuries, but real power. Who would hold the fate of the Sioux Corporation in their hands? Before the reporters' cameras, Clara Sioux's eyes welled up. I was lost and hungry out there for 20 years. I never expected this day to come. To reunite with my mother, to have an older sister. This happiness is so sudden. Evelyn tearfully embraced her, wiping away tears as if she had just found a lost treasure. My precious child, you have suffered so much. Sudden, for me, nothing was sudden. The truth was, Evelyn had never cut ties with Clara Sioux. All this time, she had secretly provided for her, sending her to study in the West. Clara lived a life of luxury amidst aristocratic parties, spending money without a second thought. After changing 3 countries, she finally acquired a degree from a university no one had ever heard of. Speaking of hardship, I was probably the only one qualified to use that word. I was born in the mountains. My father was a hunter. While rescuing a lost hiker during a climb, he fell off a cliff and died. The man he saved brought me up out of gratitude. After I graduated, my adoptive father, Alexander Sioux, passed away unexpectedly. I shouldered the company for 5 years, pulling a struggling Sioux corporation back from the brink of bankruptcy. Only now did I realize that I was merely a pawn in Evelyn's plan, a stepping stone for Clara to take center stage. I silently offered a smile that everyone would mistake for humility, but in reality, it was just a mask I had grown accustomed to wearing. To Evelyn, I would forever be the obedient, sensible child she could manipulate. When the applause died down, Evelyn spoke in a serious tone, as if about to announce something momentous. Lawyer Wang, please read out Grandpa Sioux's will. The hall fell silent. The Sioux Corporation was Grandpa Sioux's lifelong dedication, a man who had passed away over a decade ago. The sudden announcement of the will at this time certainly wasn't simple. It must concern something important. The lawyer responsible for executing the will began to read, each word articulated clearly and distinctly. Although Scarlett Sioux has always demonstrated remarkable competence and diligence, she does not, after all, possess direct bloodline to the Sioux family. If his biological granddaughter, Clara Sioux, can be found, then the Sioux Corporation must be transferred to her. Evelyn quickly dabbed her eyes, choked up with emotion. For years, I never stopped searching. Now, Grandpa's granddaughter has returned. Finally, he can rest in peace. Lawyer Wang caught up to the situation, turning to me with a timely question. Miss Scarlett, according to the wishes clearly stated in the will, are you willing to hand over the management of the Sioux Corporation to Miss Clara? All eyes in the hall turned towards me. Clara Sue quickly approached, taking my hand with an innocent, guiltless expression. Sister, you've worked so hard managing everything all this time. Now it's time for you to rest. I said nothing. A well-dressed middle-aged man stood up, his voice calm but imbued with authority. Such a major matter should not be rushed. I have a few questions for Miss Clara. The man who spoke was Mr. Chen, an independent director of the Sue Corporation. He had the right to oversee all major and minor decisions within the company and was known for his fairness, someone my adoptive father had greatly trusted. Immediately after, he posed a series of specialized questions about jewelry design. Clara Sue was visibly flustered, her answers rambling and irrelevant. Next, she was asked to appraise the value of items in a jewelry tray placed before her. Without hesitation, Clara Sue reached out and selected a few pieces she deemed valuable. Mr. Chen frowned slightly, then invited me to comment on her choices. I picked up a bracelet, turning it over and over under the lights. Basanite, a mineral often found alongside jadeite with a market price of about 300 yuan. Clara's face flushed slightly, perhaps feeling embarrassed. After a few seconds of hesitation, she changed her tone, pointing to another bracelet. I misidentified it. I meant to choose this glass-type jadeite. Its clarity is very striking. I calmly stated, it is clear indeed, but only because it's ordinary glass. If we compare its value, it's probably equivalent to a bottle of beer sold at a convenience store. I pointed to other transparent bracelets in the tray. These, however, are the real valuable items. Their prices range from hundreds of thousands to millions of yuan. It's a pity you didn't pick any of them. After appraising each bracelet in turn, I picked up the pearl necklace Clara Sue had chosen. It was feather-light, without any substantial feel when held. The surface of the pearls was quite shiny, and the beads appeared relatively uniform in size. Evelyn, standing beside her, immediately jutted out her chin, looking smug as if she were on a podium accepting an award. I told you, didn't I? When she was in college, Clara got a perfect score on her jewelry appraisal exam. I gripped 2 pearls on the necklace and rubbed them vigorously together. The outer coating peeled off instantly. Look closely now. The flaking outer layer is clear proof that these are not real pearls, but merely artificial ones coated with a thin layer of acrylic. Clara Sue's face began to change color, and Evelyn's forced smile completely froze. And this yellow quartz bracelet, its colors are excessively garish and will fade quickly. This color is dyed, not natural. Immediately, murmurs began to ripple through the hall. Even those new to jewelry collecting had enough basic knowledge to understand this. Clara Sue's blatant ignorance far exceeded everyone's imagination. Mr. Chen spoke in a deep, steady voice, full of hidden meaning. It's clear that Miss Clara's current capabilities are insufficient to manage the corporation. Everyone here is a shareholder with a significant voice in the company. What are your thoughts on appointing her as CEO, or would it be more reasonable for Miss Scarlett to continue in this position? Mr. Chen scanned the room, confident that after witnessing Clara Sue's performance firsthand, most would not dare to gamble the future of an entire corporation on her. Below the stage, the whispers grew louder. At this moment, Clara Sue's eyes were red-rimmed, glistening with tears, and she began to cry. Sister, you've always had it easy, raised by our adoptive father since childhood, gaining so much knowledge from years of exposure to the business. As for me, I was separated from my family at 3 years old, with no one by my side, no one to guide me. I lived a wandering life, even in an orphanage. Forget learning from father, I didn't even have time to properly remember his face. I only found it amusing. Her so-called being separated was nothing but a drama orchestrated by Evelyn herself. At that time, my adoptive father was often pensive and worried as unsavory rumors about Evelyn before her marriage began to circulate. So, he had secretly asked his private doctor to conduct a DNA test on Clara Sue. In a panic, Evelyn fabricated the story of her daughter being lost and quickly sent Clara Sue abroad, intending to save face and prevent any suspicion. This situation had never been made public. The Sue family kept internal matters confidential, so those present in the hall were completely unaware of the truth. Because of this, Clara Sue's tears easily swayed them. Miss Clara is only 22, isn't this just the beginning for her? After all, she carries the Sue family bloodline, and her future will surely be brilliant. Her only shortcoming is experience, which can be compensated for with time and practice. Chairman Yu, who had remained silent until now, finally spoke. In that case, why not let Miss Scarlett serve as vice president, assisting Miss Clara for a period to help her mature? Chairman Yu was one of the founders of the Sioux Corporation, now over 80 years old. Although he no longer directly managed the company, his voice still carried weight. The compromise he proposed immediately received widespread approval. Clara, Sue, and Evelyn's faces turned so cold at this moment that they seemed to freeze the surrounding air. Their gazes towards me held no warmth. Clearly, they were unwilling to let me step into the vice president position. After all, that title still carried the word president, enough to make Clara feel threatened. Just as the atmosphere was as taut as a string, the entire hall suddenly plunged into darkness. The lights abruptly went out, and the whole party was enveloped in night. Before everyone could collect themselves, I distinctly felt a hand subtly brush past my arm, light but deliberate. Just a few minutes later, the lights were restored, and the hall was as bright as if nothing had happened, but the atmosphere was no longer the same. Clara Sue suddenly shrieked as if she'd been electrocuted. My lily-of-the-valley necklace is gone. It was a piece of jewelry of no small value, at least several million yuan, so immediately, the atmosphere in the hall shifted from suspicion to vigilance. Sister, for all these years I've lived in hardship out there, while you've lived in luxury. Yet now, you won't even spare me the only gift I have. Do you want to take that too? I merely smiled faintly, letting out a sigh, not bothering to refute. Before I could even say a word, Clara Sue lunged forward, grabbing my hand and crying pitifully, rambling incessantly. Not only that, but taking advantage of everyone's stunned state, she flung open my handbag, and sure enough, the necklace lay conspicuously inside. Evelyn glared at me furiously as if she wanted to devour me whole, enunciating each word like a judgment. Scarlet Sue, the Sue family has never treated you poorly, yet you dare to do such a despicable thing? Call the police. Someone like you, our Sue family can no longer tolerate. Just as the atmosphere grew suffocatingly tense, a deep, calm voice spoke from behind. Treating someone so ruthlessly, I fear the future of the Sioux Corporation won't be much brighter. All eyes immediately turned to the source of the voice. In a corner of the room, Daniel Jiang sat at ease, like an uninvited guest. His dark blue tuxedo made him stand out even more under the slanting twilight filtering through the large glass window. Tall and upright, his face held an indifferent yet incredibly captivating expression. From his eyes to his eyebrows, he exuded an aura that commanded respect. The Sue family butler spoke with a hint of displeasure. Mr. Jiang, this is a private family matter. Although you have an engagement with the Sue family, you are not yet family by name, so please do not interfere. Daniel Jiang maintained his expression, completely unfazed by the reminder. He merely responded nonchalantly, but his words were sharp as knives. In that case, let's talk facts. Why was that necklace in Miss Scarlett's bag? A quick check of the surveillance cameras will reveal everything. The butler immediately slapped his forehead, looking flustered. Oh heavens, I forgot to turn on the surveillance system. It's my fault, my mind isn't as sharp as it used to be. Daniel Jiang cracked a thin smile, full of hidden meaning. You're not useless, you're just exceptionally cooperative, aren't you, Madam Evelyn? Evelyn immediately froze, managing only a forced smile without a word in reply. She knew very well that the Jiang family was not someone she could afford to offend, especially while she still hoped Clara could cling to Daniel Jiang to step into high society. Not keeping everyone waiting long, Daniel Jiang opened his phone, tapped a few times, and raised the screen. In the short video clip played, viewers could clearly see Clara Sue, amidst the chaos, subtly slipping the necklace into my handbag. Her face in the video was a mix of apprehension and obvious schadenfreude, as if she believed her actions would go unnoticed. Daniel Jiang turned to me, his voice calm but with an unmistakable undertone of threat. Miss Scarlett, you've been so brazenly slandered. Do you intend to report this to the police? If this video were to spread, I'm afraid Miss Clara's reputation would be ruined. His words, light as a breeze, once again froze the air in the room. Clara Sue at this moment was like someone walking a tightrope over an abyss, trembling with fear, as if one more question would make her collapse. She stammered, trying to say something. I'm sorry. Before the words could fully form, I cut her off. My voice was neither high nor low, but enough to make the atmosphere solidify. Little sister, the surprise gift you boasted about preparing for me, was it secretly giving me this necklace? Clara Sue froze for a moment, her face blank as if she had just woken from a dream. Just a few seconds later, she managed to twist her face into a forced, stiff smile that lacked any naturalness. Yes, that's right. Everyone must have misunderstood. This necklace was a gift I intended for my sister. I just wanted to create a little surprise. I never expected such a big misunderstanding. Her explanation sounded thinner than water, but at this point, she had no other choice but to accept the escape route I had just opened for her, reluctantly nodding and following. I wasn't going to let her off that easily. Oh, and you also said you were giving me a gift, hoping I would stay and assist you as CEO's assistant, remember? As my words ended, the atmosphere around us seemed to hold its breath. No one dared to speak. Evelyn subtly shifted her gaze, her mind quickly calculating the pros and cons. Compared to me becoming vice president, having me as an assistant seemed a much more acceptable price. She leaned in and whispered a few words into Clara Sue's ear. After hearing them, Clara suddenly became unusually meek, immediately backing down. So, sister, how about you stay on as the CEO's assistant, okay? Her unwilling expression made me suppress a laugh. This clumsy act was merely a forced concession. I didn't nod in a hurry, pretending to consider for a moment as if in great difficulty before reluctantly agreeing. On the surface, my staying on as an assistant seemed like a reasonable compromise between the two parties. But in reality, this was a move I had planned beforehand, part of a strategy I had secretly built. Just then, the lawyer representing the will approached me, speaking with a very serious demeanor. Legally, you need to sign a commitment to relinquish your inheritance rights. Before I could open my mouth, Daniel Jiang spoke up, his voice calm but sharp. After Grandpa Sue passed away, the corporation was entrusted to Alexander Sue, and then to Scarlet Sue. To unearth an old will now, its legal validity needs to be thoroughly examined. Evelyn's face paled upon hearing this, but she tried to maintain a composed and amiable facade, quickly shifting the conversation to family ties to gloss over the issue. Scarlet, we didn't intend to make things difficult for you. You know, Grandpa's reputation was very important. You saw just now, if we don't follow the will, I'm afraid people in the company won't stay quiet. She began her usual tactic of playing on emotions. Think about it, if Alexander were still alive, wouldn't he also leave the company to his biological daughter? Blood ties are undeniable. Who wouldn't cherish their own child? Evelyn had no qualms about using the deceased to manipulate emotions. But I remained silent, not bothering to expose the truth that Clara Sue had no blood relation to him at all, for it wasn't the right time to reveal it. I gently replied, I understand. Then, without beating around the bush, I asked directly, so, you mean you want me to sign that paper and leave here empty-handed, correct? The 4 words, empty-handed, were like a splash of cold water in the faces of everyone in the room. Everyone knew how much I had contributed to the Sue Corporation. To force me to leave empty-handed would be a direct slap to principles and honor. And that was enough for everyone to see the true colors of Evelyn and Clara Sue, two utterly ungrateful individuals. Evelyn's mouth twitched slightly, reacting with lightning speed, immediately denying it. How could that be? Auntie has always been generous and straightforward. You've also put in a lot of effort over the years. As compensation, how about I give you the Maple Good Villa? The Maple Good Villa complex was a series of suburban homes Evelyn herself had supervised, once full of promise but now desolate, like a trace of a forgotten dream. I was no longer tense, responding calmly, my voice neither fast nor slow. Maple Good is indeed a beautiful place, but what I want is not that. Evelyn's expression tightened briefly, thinking I was asking for something excessive. I merely smiled, saying softly, like a breeze across a lake, Garden of Eden. Hearing this, she exhaled as if a great weight had been lifted, nodding in agreement without hesitation. Garden of Eden. This unfinished plot of land in Myanmar was the last legacy my adoptive father left behind. The project was incomplete before he passed away. He was a kind man, living tolerantly. Recalling his image, my heart tightened. I choked up and promised everyone that if I had the chance, I would certainly fulfill my father's dying wish, completing that unfinished dream. the air in the room suddenly quieted. Everyone was touched, some praising me as a filial daughter who honored kindness and gratitude. Evelyn and Clara simultaneously let out sighs of relief. Garden of Eden was, after all, just a desolate piece of land in a faraway country, its value not even comparable to maple good. As the music played, the party gradually became more lively. Clara was surrounded by effusive praises, like a leading lady on stage. I stood silently in a quiet corner. Daniel Jiang approached me, holding a glass of shimmering golden wine. "Congratulations, Miss Scarlett. Everything went according to plan, didn't it?" I raised an eyebrow slightly, feigning displeasure. "Pushed out of the position that was rightfully mine, Mr. Jiang. Are you here to mock me too?" He merely smirked, leaning in to whisper in my ear, his voice carrying a subtle undercurrent. "No need to hide it anymore. I know there's a large gemstone mine beneath the Garden of Eden land. Once we can extract that mineral resource, our Jenny jewelry brand will break through, far exceeding all expectations." I looked at him, the corners of my lips curving into a bright smile. "Then, here's to our successful partnership, partner." Jenny Jewelry, a name still new in the market, was silently growing stronger day by day. Few knew that behind that brand were Daniel Jiang and I, two people working in the shadows, quietly building an empire. I brought Clara back to the dreamlike, opulent villa. Her private room was on the second floor, a space I had meticulously arranged. Its decor was nothing short of a fairy tale princess's sanctuary. Outside the window, rose bushes bloomed in vibrant competition under the afternoon sun. Inside the room, white lace curtains draped loosely, and light from the crystal chandelier shattered into countless shimmering fragments. On the large bed, covered in silk sheets, lay an array of toys that every girl had once dreamed of in childhood. Clara subtly smirked, a fleeting smile that held both delight and surprise. I walked over, opening the large closet door leading to the dressing room. Inside were countless neatly arranged shelves, overflowing with dresses, high heels, and handbags. "These are all outfits from famous brands that I personally selected for you. This style and aura suit only you." Then I gently opened the six-tiered jewelry box. Necklaces, bracelets, earrings from gold to jade, from pearls to gemstones, everything was there. Each piece was already coordinated, just waiting for her to choose and shine. Clara smiled brighter, quickly picking out a few dresses and holding them up to the mirror, mesmerized by her reflection. Just then, Evelyn, in a fashionable outfit, her high heels clacking on the floor, entered with an arrogant air. She threw her phone onto the table, her voice sharp. "Clara, don't think you're so clever. Look here, aren't you ashamed?" On the screen, the headline, "Idiot Heiress," topped the hot search rankings. Just a tap revealed the video of Clara appraising precious items at her birthday party. Beneath the video, barbed comments rained down. "Unbelievable, this heiress is obsessed with fakes. With someone like her as CEO, who would dare buy jewelry anymore?" Evelyn furiously ordered me to train Clara, forcing me to transform her into a capable woman, intelligent enough to shoulder the role of a leader. "You have completely disgraced the Sue family. You may have no shame, but I still have my honor to uphold." I spoke softly, gently reassuring her. "Auntie, please rest assured, Clara has potential. With just a little time, everyone will have to change their perception of her." Evelyn snorted coldly, leaving without another word. When the door closed, Clara stood frozen for a moment, then suddenly exploded. "Always forcing me, who is utterly useless, to become someone important, always dreaming of a phoenix's rise, it's sickening." She was like a madwoman at Evelyn's strictness, her anger a newly kindled spark. I stood silently, secretly pleased. Their already fragile relationship was now even more fractured. I walked over, comforting her with a few words, advising her to show ambition and leave the rest to me. Clara didn't respond, but her eyes held a glimmer of trust, a silent reliance. To cleanse the empty-headed heiress, nickname that was spreading everywhere, Clara posted on Weibo, showing off a series of her high-end study tools. From specialized drawing paper and expensive artists' pens to a high-performance computer custom-designed for professional designers. Soon, netizens uncovered the detailed price list. The set of drawing paper and pens were all luxury brands, each item worth tens of thousands of yuan. The computer, a technological monster, cost over 1 million yuan, equipped with one of the most powerful chips in the world. A prominent comment topped the replies, full of sarcasm. A good student only needs a pencil, but an incompetent one buys an entire stationery store. It's useless. Clara Sue's face immediately darkened. I gently patted her. Don't pay too much attention to what outsiders say. They might have been top students, but now they're all working for you. In the Sue Corporation, even outstanding graduates from Tsinghua and Peking are working under you. I sighed, feigning dissatisfaction. I really don't understand why Auntie Evelyn insists on forcing you to study like this. You have more than enough wealth to live comfortably for a lifetime without needing to strive for anything. Clara Sue exhaled, her eyes clearly showing gratitude. Only you understand. I knew she had no real interest or talent, so I suggested she start by copying. Clara Sue raised an eyebrow, her expression full of boredom, sketching a few perfunctory lines before casually handing it to me for correction. The multi-million-dollar computer soon became a means for playing games and watching idols. Every time she opened the design software, she'd inevitably clutch her head and groan about being tired. I didn't mind her playing around. I quietly revised her work myself. As Evelyn's birthday approached, I subtly reminded Clara to make a meaningful gift herself. She hastily drew a very rough sketch. I stepped in to refine it, transforming it into a complete design. Afterward, I took the design to have a set of jade jewelry made for Evelyn. A picture of the jewelry set was quickly posted by Evelyn on her social media. Likes poured in, yet some gazes were still critical. Madame Chu, the wife of the CEO of the Chu Corporation, who had always been in subtle rivalry with Evelyn, left an enigmatic comment. Not bad, but still needs a lot of effort. Not to be outdone, Madame Chu quickly showed off on her social media an image of her wrist adorned with a sparkling diamond bracelet, accompanied by a caption that couldn't be more arrogant, following the trend, sharing a little. My daughter's work was once featured in an auction at Christie's. Unfortunately, I couldn't keep it as someone offered a high price and bought it. Below it were countless praises hailing her daughter as a rare genius. Evelyn's pride was doused with cold water. She immediately flew into a rage, scolding me for teaching too slowly, making Clara Sue unable to compete with others' daughters, only producing cheap, mediocre things. I didn't argue, simply and silently brewed a pot of ginseng tea to calm her down. Auntie, don't worry. Give me 1 month and I will make Clara capable of personally designing a truly commercially valuable piece of jewelry. But in reality, Clara Sue wasn't very interested in studying. She was immersed in an obsession with a young star named Brandon Cheng, spending money lavishly to pursue her idol. Days flew by like the wind. And then, as expected, she picked up a pen, intending to hastily draw a sketch and then thrust it into my hand to fix, as always. But this time, things would no longer be that simple. Throughout this process, Evelyn never took her eyes off Clara Sue. Under strict supervision, she reluctantly completed a rough drawing, a crude, clumsy ruby ring design that looked no different from a kindergarten child's scribble. Evelyn trembled with anger, her lips quivering as she was about to scold loudly. I immediately interjected, commenting seriously, "This design strongly bears the mark of postmodern art. Although it appears simple on the outside, it contains a spirit of free creativity. Clara Sue has potential, and those with refined tastes will understand the hidden value within it." Evelyn was half convinced, her expression still tense. I quietly arranged for the product to be made exactly according to the design and then brought it to a reputable auction house to test the market reaction. Unexpectedly, the ring was quickly purchased at an astonishing price. Immediately, Evelyn joyfully boasted of her triumph with a series of photos posted on her social media, drawing likes like a wave. Madame Chu, who had always been picky and sarcastic, was silent this time. Afterward, Daniel Jiang arranged to meet me at Zhenyi Company to discuss some matters. The morning sun pierced through the large glass windows, illuminating his face as he leisurely enjoyed a dark coffee. I transferred 2 million yuan to him on my phone, the money he had spent to buy the ring earlier. Daniel Jiang waved his hand, refusing. "Why would you pay for something I chose?" I raised an eyebrow slightly. "You really think it was worth buying?" "Asking you to participate in the auction was part of the plan. Normally, such a clumsy ring would be hard to sell for 20,000 yuan, let alone 2 million. He shrugged and smiled. "It wasn't me, it was the cat. I was amused. The preferences of the wealthy are unpredictable. Just as he finished speaking, a pure white cat leapt onto his lap, proudly raising its head. Around its neck was the sparkling ruby ring, Clara Sue's creation, now worn as a collar. Ah, so that's it. Used as jewelry for a cat, it doesn't seem like a complete waste then. One day, Evelyn called, hinting at wanting to increase my benefits. I firmly refused. What I do is simply my duty. I gently added, lately, I've not only guided Clara Sue in design, but also mentored her in management and operations. If the company's performance improves, it won't be too late for you to reward me then. Sitting by the window, Daniel Jiang casually stroked the soft fur of the white cat, chuckling softly. Little White, there are people in this world who play cat and mouse better than you, truly a case of gentle yet firm persuasion. Not long after, the new quarterly financial report was released. The indicators were stable, even showing significant growth. Net profit soared by 15% compared to the same period last year. In front of everyone, Clara Sue confidently presented the financial analysis, her language clear, her arguments sound, like a true expert. But no one knew that the presentation was drafted by me, every word meticulously honed and practiced with her no less than a dozen times. When Evelyn asked about the direction for the next quarter, Clara Sue smiled confidently, immediately responding, I propose lowering the commission rate for Mr. Chen. While other partners receive a maximum of 7%, he alone always enjoys 10%. This is unreasonable. This proposal was entirely outside my training plan. I had repeatedly warned her that Mr. Chen had made significant contributions to the Sue family and absolutely should not be touched. Previously, Mr. Chen had been a jewelry entrepreneur in Europe. Sharing a passion with my adoptive father, they became trusted friends. During a crisis at Sue Corporation, he was the one who introduced an international client network, helping the company recover. At that time, there was a commitment between them. For every batch of goods sold, the Sue Corporation would give him a 10% commission. That agreement remained unchanged for years. But Clara Sue always saw Mr. Chen as a thorn in her side. The old incident at the birthday party, where he asked her to appraise gemstones and she lost face in front of the crowd, remained a stubborn scar in her heart. She made no attempt to hide her contempt. Just for a small favor from years ago, should he continue to ride high on us forever? Supporting him is worse than supporting a dog. Evelyn pondered for a moment, then said, If you believe you're right, then go negotiate with Mr. Chen yourself and ask him to reduce his commission. Everything happened exactly as I had predicted. Mr. Chen refused. And then Clara Sue seized the opportunity to unleash harsh words, venting all her indignation on him. Her words were so venomous that they sent chills down the listeners' spines. When the time was ripe, I proactively contacted Daniel Jiang, instructing him to find a headhunter to approach and recruit Mr. Chen for our team. Daniel Jiang quietly considered, then remarked, Old Chen has been with the Sue Corporation for so many years, it might be hard to break old ties. I handed him a prepared folder of documents, my eyes cold but resolute. Just let him see this. After he does, years of sentiment will turn to dust. Afterward, Daniel Jiang arranged to meet Mr. Chen at an exclusive club reserved for the elite. There, he personally handed him the folder. As Mr. Chen flipped through the pages, his eyes gradually widened in shock, then in astonishment and indignation. He never imagined that over all those years, Evelyn had repeatedly and subtly manipulated and siphoned off his clients, even using slanderous tactics to isolate him. Although these schemes hadn't achieved obvious results, they were enough to deeply wound him. The very next day, Mr. Chen returned to the Sue Corporation headquarters. He didn't say much, simply slammed a stack of documents onto the table in front of Evelyn, enunciating each word. I have no reason to stay any longer. Then he withdrew, leaving a position he had held for almost half his life. Afterward, he himself proactively invited Daniel Jiang to meet. That time, I accompanied Daniel Jiang to the meeting. Daniel Jiang smiled formally as he introduced me. This is CEO Su, the current leader of Zhenyi Company. Mr. Chen was surprised, then his eyes lit up, unable to hide his satisfaction. I guessed right. Scarlett has been outstanding since childhood. Alexander never misjudged people. Not long after, he brought his entire network of long-standing clients to my company. Sales at the Sue Corporation plummeted, in disarray like a rudderless ship amid stormy seas. Evelyn furiously blamed Clara Sue for everything. "You were too reckless. How could you push Mr. Chen to the point of leaving like that?" Clara Sue fumed, her face defiant without a hint of remorse. "He was always clinging to him. Would the company die without him?" Evelyn couldn't suppress her anger, almost roaring, "You have no capability whatsoever, only good at being impulsive and showing off." At that moment, I gently interjected, my voice calm but full of hidden meaning. "Actually, we still have a viable move to turn the tide. Soon, the contract with the brand ambassador for Sue Corporation's jewelry will expire. If we can choose a prominent figure with enough influence, it would be a market breakthrough." Evelyn looked at me, her eyes gleaming with a ray of hope. I asked the two of them, which artist is influential enough to take on that role? The choice of brand ambassador became the fuse for a fierce confrontation between the mother and daughter of the Sue family. Clara Sue earnestly wanted to choose Brandon Cheng, a rising star, as the brand ambassador. For the past few months, she had been almost fanatically obsessed with the young man. Brandon Cheng had just turned 20, a former member of a male idol group, an ideal dream figure for countless young girls. Meanwhile, Evelyn leaned in a different direction. She favored Raymond Luo, a seasoned actor. Handsome even at 48 years old, Raymond Luo had appeared in numerous TV dramas and films. After stepping away from the spotlight, he transitioned to producing short videos, becoming a charming icon for middle-aged women. Their disagreement led to incessant arguments. Evelyn fiercely countered that Brandon Cheng's fees were too high, while his fanbase mainly consisted of young girls who relied on pocket money, unlikely to bring real consumer value. Clara Sue criticized Raymond Luo for being past his prime, asserting that his older fan base was only accustomed to buying gold as an investment and cared little for trendy, intricately designed jewelry. In short, they were not the target customer group. Neither was willing to back down, their words flying back and forth until the atmosphere in the house felt stretched. At that moment, I interjected with a compromise proposal. The Sue family isn't short on money, so why not invite both? One representing youth and one evoking memories of adulthood. Wouldn't that cover all generations of customers? After consideration, the Sue Corporation finally decided to spend 30 million yuan to sign contracts with both Brandon Cheng and Raymond Luo. However, life is not always a dream. A few months passed, and not only did revenue not improve, it actually declined. Online, fans of both sides constantly attacked each other, competing to criticize the opposing idol as uncharismatic, terrible actors, or outdated. Finally, Brandon Cheng's supporters gained the upper hand. They released a series of unedited photos of Raymond Luo, exposing his slightly plump physique as a declaration of victory. Evelyn gnashed her teeth in anger, ordering Brandon Cheng's team to rein in his fans, but Brandon Cheng merely feigned innocence, shrugging and explaining that his fans' behavior was not something he could control. Evelyn was so angry she didn't touch her chopsticks for 2 days straight. I lit a cigarette for her, gently coaxing, "Auntie, popularity can be turned around. As long as you step forward to support Raymond Luo, give him more opportunities to appear in public. A few times on the trending search lists, and netizens will notice immediately." Hearing this, Evelyn seemed to gain courage. She boldly declared that she and Raymond Luo were sworn siblings, even generously spending money to help him return to the entertainment industry. From lavish parties, luxury cars and villas as gifts, to arranging work within her company, she meticulously managed everything. Raymond Luo's name gradually revived. Public opinion began to buzz with signs of his comeback. A series of rumors spread online. Wealthy CEO Evelyn, infatuated, spared no expense. Handsome Uncle Raymond Luo was about to marry into a rich family, becoming part of a powerful dynasty. Clara Sue was so enraged she couldn't contain herself, immediately tasking me with clarifying the situation. I had someone check the entire history of exchanges between Evelyn and Raymond Luo. It turned out Evelyn had promised to help Raymond Luo get a seat on the Sue Corporation's board of directors. She even intended to have a child with him, for that child to replace Clara Sue's position and become the legitimate heir to the corporation. Clara Sue's indignation almost exploded. "Get rid of those two despicable people for me immediately." I gently placed a hand on her shoulder, softly reassuring her, Don't let anger affect your health. I'm here, rest assured. After reviewing the personnel list, I asked the HR manager, why hasn't Olivia Ngo, a Tsinghua University graduate, been promoted? I remember that girl has an ordinary appearance but exceptional jewelry craftsmanship. The HR manager replied, Olivia Ngo is quiet and somewhat overly meticulous, not suitable for a leadership role. I immediately called Olivia Ngo in and assigned her the task of reviewing all accounts previously managed by Evelyn and Raymond Luo. True to her reputation as an excellent student, Olivia Ngo quickly discovered problems. In a short time, she verified that the couple had inflated expenses, embezzling over 20 million yuan from the company. Immediately after, Clara Su publicly presented the evidence and made the decision to fire both of them from the Su Corporation. Evelyn was furious, loudly accusing Clara Su of being ungrateful, but Clara merely smiled coldly in response. Aren't I just learning from you, mother? Don't forget, the Su Corporation bears the name Su, not Chen. You'd best settle down at home and enjoy your retirement. After resolving the matter, Clara Su wanted to give me a car and jewelry to thank me, but I gently refused. I don't need anything. If you want to thank me, then give Olivia Ngo a raise. She casually replied, how much to raise is up to you. From then on, I understood that Clara Su had placed complete trust in me. I immediately decided to double Olivia Ngo's salary from 25,000 to 50,000 yuan per month. Though a woman of few words, Olivia Ngo was not ungrateful. She came to me and said, I dare not accept undeserved benefits. What I do is not worth that much money. Is there anything else you need my help with? I smiled faintly. Take me to meet your father. The World Jewelry Design Festival was approaching. Clara Su entrusted me with the responsibility of leading the competition team and didn't hesitate to offer an attractive compensation package. But I merely shrugged, firmly choosing to leave the city and retreat to Jingyang Mountain. She narrowed her eyes suspiciously. Such an important event, and you're missing it? Has your fighting spirit flown away with the clouds? I chuckled inwardly. Of course, I would participate, but as a representative for the Zhenyi jewelry brand. Olivia Ngo's hometown was in a secluded village deep in the mountains. Her father, Mr. Ngo, was a seasoned jade carving artisan, a preserver of exquisite craftsmanship recognized as intangible cultural heritage. Although his skills were masterful, the products he created didn't keep up with modern market tastes. Mr. Ngo was a man of few words, somewhat aloof. He busied himself with firewood, seemingly indifferent to our presence. Olivia Ngo stood before her father, expressing her gratitude and saying that I was the one who had changed her life. I pulled out an old, faded newspaper. On it was an article praising one of his works. Mr. Ngo, the talented artisan, always trusted by the village girls to create jade wedding jewelry for their big day. His eyes momentarily glinted with light, then quickly returned to a somber cast. It's no use anyway. This craft is outdated. No one is interested in learning it anymore. I guess it will just die with me. I took out a letter with a red seal. I would like to invite you to be a technical consultant for Zhenyi. To teach the craft, you can personally choose your apprentices, pass on the essence of your skills. This time, he didn't refuse. A gentle nod was enough for me to understand he was ready to return. Not long after, I received great news. My mine in Myanmar had just discovered a rare vein of Paraiba tourmaline. This type of gem primarily appears in Brazil and a few regions in Africa, making it extremely rare in Asia. Specifically, Paraiba tourmaline has exceptional value, even higher than diamonds if it meets standard quality. Returning home after a long journey, it was already late at night. I sat before my computer, silently refining my design. Daniel Jiang walked over, gently massaging my shoulders. Still not satisfied, you've revised this drawing 9 times already. I sighed, my voice lazy. This is my first time entering the international arena. I can't be half-hearted. The jewelry design competition is held every 2 years, and this time, China officially has its own division, a fantastic opportunity for Zhenyi to go global. Daniel Jiang sat down beside me and began to strategize. The design is finished, the artisans are ready, only the model is missing. In today's fashion world, is there anyone you admire? I'll help you contact them. I replied without thinking, no global model can compare to Ling Shihua. He chuckled. Henry, I've seen you constantly watching her clips these past few days. I hear she's very hard to invite. She always wears a mask during live streams, doesn't accept advertising contracts, and has never revealed her true face. How do you plan to approach her? Ling Shihua operated independently. Her group often adapted to ancient Chinese themes, sometimes performing folk dances, other times reciting poetry and lecturing on culture. Although her follower count wasn't huge, her loyal fans were exceptionally devoted. Just then, my phone screen lit up, signaling a message. I smiled and turned. No need to approach her, she's here. Ling Shihua entered the room with her usual calm demeanor and dignified presence. I came to express my gratitude. CEO Su gifted me an incredibly rare ancient book, a copy I had been searching for 6 years. I smiled back sincerely. When things are meant to be, they find their way to you. On the contrary, I should thank you for allowing that book to find its rightful place. Ling Shihua nodded, her eyes resolute. Rest assured, I will give my full support to this design competition round. The International Jewelry Design Competition officially kicked off. In the China region, only 2 representatives remained in the finals, us and the Su Corporation. According to the competition rules, each finalist was required to upload a video introducing their collection. These videos would be broadcast sequentially on the official website of the organizing committee. The opening act was none other than the Su Corporation. Clara Su appeared in dazzling jewelry, hand in hand with Brandon Cheng, her smile sweet but unnatural. Her makeup and attire were in an elaborate, opulent bar style, a bit flashy and stiff. That very day, social media platforms exploded. The top trending hashtag was Clara Su unedited photos, along with a series of images of her striding down the runway with Brandon Cheng. Her face was slightly rigid, her movements somewhat exaggerated, and netizens immediately erupted in harsh ridicule. Some prominent comments? Not pretty enough, yet wants to perform. Please spare my eyes. Brandon Cheng has no achievements, just rides on his rich girlfriend's coattails, truly tiresome. Heard the Su family is running out of steam, who's relying on whom is still unclear. Amidst the countless criticisms, no one so much as mentioned the quality or concept of the jewelry collection. To turn the tide, Clara Su invested money to push a new keyword, Clara Su's creative jewelry. Thanks to this, attention gradually shifted to the products rather than her personally. Public opinion began to become more positive. If you disregard the performance, this jewelry collection is truly eye-catching. Unique style, stable aesthetic, it truly is a Su Corporation product. Worthy of a high-end brand, truly world-class design. The keyword, Clara Su's creative jewelry, dominated for the entire day, somewhat helping her salvage her reputation. On Weibo, Clara Su didn't forget to boast about her achievement. So difficult, I wonder if I should be a CEO, a designer, or switch to the entertainment industry next. In the comments section, netizens unanimously cheered. Amazing! Brandon Cheng, not to be outdone, left a comment. Children choose one, adults choose all. Immediately after, Clara Su screenshot numerous comments and sent them to me, her tone undisguisedly smug. Even a new employee's work can cause such a sensation, not inferior to a seasoned designer like you, right? I simply replied with 2 words. Congratulations. I knew this was an unmissable opportunity. From a secondary account, I quietly posted a series of images on social media. These were old photos capturing a design that had won an award at a jewelry design competition in Florence 3 years ago. When compared to the collection Clara Su had just unveiled, every detail from the color palette, materials, to design lines was eerily similar. Undeniably, this was blatant plagiarism. As the post began to attract attention, I immediately contacted Ann Oh, the true owner of the original design. Not long after, Ann Oh herself uploaded a video, directly speaking from overseas, demanding that the other party remove all infringing content. However, Clara Su chose to remain silent, but that silence didn't last long. An official announcement from the competition organizers quickly arrived. The Su Corporation was disqualified from the final round. Not stopping there, Ann Oh's legal representative immediately sent a legal document to the Su Corporation, demanding that Clara Su not only issue a public apology, but also pay a substantial sum in compensation. The stock price of Su Corporation immediately plummeted, almost hitting rock bottom. Investors understood that this was not merely a copyright infringement case, but a fatal blow to the entire corporation's reputation. Sioux Corporation had lost both face and money. This time, it seemed like a real collapse. It was our turn to take the stage, and social media had already filled with negative comments. If Sioux Corporation fell so badly, what hope is there for a small, nameless entity? These days, aren't all designs plagiarized? The only difference is who hides it better. Borrowing ideas from abroad, as long as no one finds out, no one will pursue it. Then the background music swelled, and in just a few seconds, the comments section shifted dramatically to expressions of astonishment, filled with exclamation marks. What captivating music is this? It feels like listening to ancient court music. The lights flared, and 12 maidens in ancient costumes slowly emerged, each embodying a flower deity representing a season and a flower in East Asian culture. Beginning with the plum blossom, the model stepped forward in a deep red gown, her forehead adorned with delicate plum blossoms, her hair styled high with red coral hairpins, matching jewelry creating a serene, ethereal beauty. A clear female voice resonated, chanting an ancient poem. Spirit flies over the mountain peaks, spring is hard to discern, clouds separate, the Luofu dream remains unfulfilled. Next, other flower deities appeared in succession: peach, apricot, peony, tree peony. Each seemed to have stepped out of a watercolor painting. The audience was almost spellbound, the comments section grew quiet, filled only with gasps of breathtakingly beautiful. Traditional culture truly has its own vitality. Ancient poetry, ancient music, ancient costumes. It's like watching a full performance, both auditory and visual. Traffic surged to the point that the live streaming website temporarily crashed due to overload. After the 12 Flower Deities collection, the final performance was revealed. Ling Shihua appeared in a flowing, wide-sleeved dress carrying a white rabbit. Amidst a faint mist, she gently set the animal down, beginning the Chang flying to the moon dance. The stage lights, following her turns, softly swept over the rabbit's body, then as if by magic, transformed it into an exquisitely carved jade rabbit, cradled in Ling Shihua's palm. This was the very piece of jewelry, personally crafted by artisan Mr. Ngo. The broadcast screen was immediately flooded with identical messages. Link, who's selling that jade rabbit? I want to buy it. The Chang flying to the moon dance concluded in the dim stage lights. Ling Shihua stopped just as the final melody faded. Lights shone directly onto her face, causing the Paraiba tourmaline embedded in her forehead to reflect a dazzling light. The blue color of the stone, a pure, unblemished azure, evoked both the deep sea and the sky after a rain shower. A female voice once again resonated, light as morning dew. Chang regrets stealing the elixir, the blue sky and vast sea reflect her sorrow night after night. Online comments immediately flared up. May I politely ask, how much is that greenish-blue stone on her forehead? The polite question filled me with total despair. I quickly typed a reply. This jewelry set is a limited edition from our company, not for sale, but I won't forget to guide your purchase. Anyone who wants a similar version can click this link. Paraiba tourmaline forehead chain, 50,000 yuan. There's also an alternative with blue apatite, an economy version for only 5,000 yuan. And just as I predicted, everything sold out within minutes. After watching the entire performance video, I nodded slightly, satisfied. Just then my phone rang. It was Daniel Jiang. His voice sounded like he was both laughing and delivering news. Hot news here. Evelyn just held a press conference. She's shedding crocodile tears, calling you an ungrateful backstabber. I chuckled faintly. She's bringing herself to my door. Excellent, I'll go meet her personally. Immediately after, I posted a line on Weibo. Today, I will officially provide an answer. At the company gates, Evelyn stood beside Clara Sue, both appearing as if poised for battle. When they saw me appear with several tall, burly assistants, their faces instantly hardened. The situation almost made me laugh. It had been a while since I'd seen the two of them on the same side. Since being ousted from the board of directors, Evelyn had enjoyed a few months of leisure with Raymond Luo. But that man was not content to merely enjoy. He wanted to return to the business world, to revive his fallen reputation. Evelyn ran around, trying every avenue to help him, but no one paid any attention. Those in the know understood that the Sioux Corporation was now a sinking ship, its collapse merely a matter of time, and she wouldn't have many more peaceful days. As expected, Raymond Luo quickly abandoned Evelyn, moving on to cling to a newly rich socialite. It was only then that Evelyn began to frantically seek reconciliation with Clara Sue. She yelled when she saw me. "Scarlet Sue, you played all sorts of dirty tricks, betrayed the Sue family, dared to open your own company, and now you have the nerve to come back here, truly ungrateful. Get out of the Sue family immediately." I didn't bother with words, silently turned and walked away, not even looking back once. Clara Sue made no attempt to hide her malice, directly ordering the company security to block me in the main lobby. As soon as she saw me pulling my suitcase, she immediately rushed forward, flung it open, and rummaged through every corner as if searching for a lost treasure. I crossed my arms, tilted my head slightly, and smiled enigmatically. "Don't bother. I'm not foolish enough to put valuables in a suitcase. All the valuable things are in my head. No one can steal them." Before I could finish, Evelyn lunged forward as if a nerve had been struck. Without a hint of hesitation, she fiercely yanked the necklace I was wearing from my neck. "Take them all off. Necklaces, earrings, bracelets, all are assets of the Sue family. You have no right to take anything." Her shrill voice echoed through the grand lobby, drawing curious employees to gather around. A few even secretly turned on their phone cameras, ready to record the live drama unfolding before them. I shrugged and walked out to the nearby lawn, calmly sitting down as if on a picnic. My assistant understood and pulled out her phone to livestream. I looked straight into the camera. One by one, I slowly removed each piece of jewelry without a hint of regret. Just as Neja once returned his bones and flesh to his parents, today I, Scarlet Sue, return this jewelry to my adoptive mother. I paused, looking directly at the screen. Why only return jewelry? Simply because I already returned all inheritance rights and shares a long time ago. The Sue family left me only these few old pieces of jewelry. Some were rewards when I helped the company secure contracts. Some were given to me by my adoptive father when I came of age. But now, everything is returned neatly and decisively. The Sue Corporation raised me, and I haven't reneged on any debt. All these years of effort I put in are enough to consider the debt of gratitude fully paid. I handed all the jewelry to my assistant. "Take these back to Madame Evelyn. Remember to wrap them carefully in velvet pouches, lest they accuse us of disrespect." Once that was done, I began to put on a new set of jewelry, products from the Genie brand. Their appearance was both modern and classic, perfectly complementing my office attire, making me look like a fashionable office lady. Everyone can clearly see the difference. The jewelry I just took off is an old product of the Sue Corporation. The pieces I'm wearing now are from Genie, a collection designed specifically for office workers, a modern national style. In terms of design, quality, and sophistication, they are second to none. Most importantly, the prices are incredibly affordable, suitable for modern office women. You don't need a fortune to buy elegance. Comments flew rapidly under the livestream. Post the link quickly, sister." I smiled, wondering why the price was so reasonable. Simply because Genie owns its own gemstone mine in Myanmar. We extract and craft ourselves, cutting out all intermediaries, high quality at an affordable price. Just as I predicted, orders began pouring in. In less than an hour, the warehouse was empty. The live stream was nearing its end. I was about to close the sales session when the system unexpectedly reported an unusual connection. An account requested me to wait a few more minutes because a special guest wanted to send me an important gift. I raised an eyebrow, tilting my head at the camera. "I only sell products. I don't accept gifts from viewers. The rules are clear. Don't bother." As soon as I finished speaking, the image on the screen changed. Daniel Jiang's face appeared unexpectedly. The background behind him was the sprawling green field of the Aachen Horse Racing Festival, where the prestigious Rolex Grand Prix was taking place. He had just won the championship and was surrounded by reporters for interviews. Amidst the commotion, Daniel Jiang looked directly into the camera, opening his hand, and brilliant, sparkling lights emanated like fireworks. "I want to use these candies to propose to my fiancée. She is the winner of the China region in the World Jewelry Design Competition. An outstanding girl, deserving of all respect." The crowd around him erupted in surprise. People whispered, "Oh my God, how romantic. Whoever gets proposed to with a handful of sparkling candies must be as happy as a child." Standing beside me, Clara Sue sneered, leaning in to whisper contemptuously, "Proposing with candy? Is he trying to coax a 3-year-old? Your man is truly so stingy he must have set a Guinness World Record. On the screen, Daniel Jiang seemed to have heard her words, chuckling softly then looking straight into the camera, his voice gently sarcastic. Clara Sue, you've been in the jewelry industry for so many years and you can't even recognize candy. The camera zoomed in, clarifying the image in his hand. It wasn't candy at all, but a handful of rare diamonds. Radiant red, brilliant yellow, sparkling green, exquisite blue, and even an extremely rare and expensive pink argyle diamond, possessing a graceful, feminine beauty. Each gem was a treasure in the jewelry world, rare and hard to find, so valuable that money alone couldn't buy them. Just then, Chairman Yu hurried to my side and whispered, "Madam President, everyone has gathered in the meeting room upstairs. Please come up for the meeting." Clara Sue looked as if she had been struck by lightning, her eyes wide, her voice strained with suspicion. "What, did you mishear? She's from Jenny, that third-rate company. How could she be the president? I am still the president of Sue Corporation." I glanced at Chairman Yu and nodded lightly. "Mr. Yu, please kindly explain the reality to her." Chairman Yu sighed, looking at Clara Sue with a mix of regret and anger. "Clara Sue, you truly understand nothing about corporate management. Do you know how rotten the Sue Corporation had become? When everyone else fled, Miss Scarlett was the only person I could rely on. I had no other choice but to personally seek her out and beg for help. And it was she, the person you are mocking, who stepped in and saved the Sue Corporation by acquiring it entirely. She is now the new president, and you are just an outsider." Clara Sue screamed, her voice full of indignation. "By what right do you call me stupid? My veins run with Sue family blood. I am the true heiress." She whirled around to face me, pointing her finger directly at my face without restraint. "And you bastard who's been worming your way into the Sue family for so many years, aren't you ashamed? Know your place and get out." I didn't back down. Pulling a file from my bag, I opened it for everyone to see. "Bastard, are you talking about yourself? Because according to the DNA test results, Evelyn, your mother, was pregnant with someone else's child before marrying my adoptive father." Evelyn, standing nearby, heard this and went mad, lunging forward to cut me off. "Don't you dare make up such blatant lies. Clara's father and her grandfather are both long gone. Who are you trying to deceive with that fake test result?" She raised her hand to strike me, but before she could connect, security guards intervened. I remained unfazed, my voice steady as if recounting an old, stale story. "Clara Sue's biological father is still alive. That year, your mother got drunk and slept with her private driver. Afterward, to quickly climb into a rich marriage, she had someone cripple his leg and then exiled him abroad like trash. That man is now working as a miner in Myanmar, under my gemstone mining company. If you're interested, I can sponsor tickets for your whole family to reunite there." The air in the room seemed to freeze. Whispers spread among the onlookers. "What? Clara Sue isn't the real heiress? Henry, how limited is her intellect? If her biological father is a minor, it makes sense." Security personnel immediately used megaphones to escort people away from the scene. Clara Sue and her mother walked away dejectedly, as if being thrown off the stage. I stood there, calmly waving goodbye to guests. My gemstone mining company is still short-staffed. The position of rock miner is still open. Think it over carefully and contact me later. As I was preparing for my wedding with Daniel Jiang, I unexpectedly received a strange message accompanied by a transfer of 20 million yuan. The content was only 2 words: dowry. The sender was my biological mother, the woman who had vanished from my life for 28 years. She appeared in a designer dress, elegantly made up, looking every bit like a wealthy lady from a TV drama. Her eyes trembled as she looked at me and spoke. "Xingxing, I'm sorry." I cut her off, not letting her weave any more words of repentance. "My name is Scarlet Sue, not Xingxing, and I am no longer the child who once waited for her mother at the door all night in the rain." She tried to defend herself, saying that the family was too poor back then, and she was forced to leave me to work, that she had never forgotten me. I smiled faintly and said bluntly, without any leniency, "Let me guess, your private son, after you remarried, is now serving time, so you suddenly remembered you had an abandoned daughter." Her face flushed crimson as if she had been slapped without a chance to dodge. I said no more, simply blocked her contact, wiping her clean out of my life. That spring, the trees were lush green and clusters of flowers bloomed along the path. On behalf of the Sioux Corporation, I donated a new building to my old school where my adoptive father once taught. The building was named Alexander Zoo, a part of memory, a word of thanks. That was how I preserved true love, the kind that once saved me in a world full of deceit.